What's going on, guys? So here's the second video of my commentary of my maps, basically just talking about the design process, all of that lovely stuff. So this map is 3 dimensions, and to be honest, this map, in my opinion, it's one of those maps where, like, when you write the whole idea on table, it sounds awesome and exciting, but once you actually, like, execute it, I just feel like maybe it didn't really turn out as good or as well as I feel like it should have been. So let's give me. I'm gonna start off some like reasons why. So first of all, the whole concept of this map is that it features hell modules, kind of like a UAC or tech-based type of module, and of course classic. And all of these modules have like custom geometry, and it's not 100% custom geometry. Like, this is kind of like a preset I used just to like build up an introduction. Build up to, like, the custom. Oh god, this little glitch. Just to build up, like, the custom modules. Same thing with this, isn't like a custom module, but it's mostly custom modules pretty much. And yeah, so I really liked this idea, and I was mostly inspired by Dumb Morons, a trip from 2016 to 1993. I really enjoyed that map. It's mostly like, actually, yeah, it's pretty much a preset based map. There's no like custom geometry, and it plays fairly similar to like what the campaign does. There's a lot of lockdowns and all of that stuff, but it's a lot of fun. It's a very like simple but very well polished and fun map to play. And yeah, I basically wanted to take that idea and just took it, and take it to like another level, just try to make it more complex and make it more interesting and bigger. And I actually think this is probably one of like my longest maps that you can possibly beat. Even, especially when you explore the secret, there's actually kind of like a little secret level or secret module on this map, and I will eventually talk about that later on. But yeah, so that's 3 dimension and what like the concept was basically about. So let me give you some explanation of why like this level. I feel like it could have, like, maybe like the idea wasn't really the greatest for SnapMap. So first of all, this part right here was definitely a problem. I kind of wanted to add like a little puzzle here. Basically, you're supposed to shoot these like C4s and break down these walls. But I've seen like people like playing the game, and it seemed like people don't kind of like realize it, and that's definitely a problem because when they don't realize it, they sometimes want to, like, go to another module and maybe like come back to that one later on. And I cannot have you to do that because that completely ruins the checkpoint system, and this will definitely give you some very funky checkpoints. And I think here it is. So basically, when I first released 3 dimensions, I did not add this message, but I had to add this message because I can't, like, have the player trying to play hell, and maybe hell is too hard. They'll try to play the UAC levels, but then again, the monsters are respawning, and it completely screws up the spawns here, and then it completely screws up the checkpoints. And yeah, like, that's the problem right here. It's the checkpoint system. You can't, well, at least like from my knowledge, it's just really hard to like kind of like create a proper checkpoint system with this kind of map. And not only that, you have the 12 enemy limit, which is also another problem with SnapMap. And yeah, the SnapMap limitation does kind of like screw me over a little bit with this map. And yeah, so that's one problem. This area was definitely vague, and I feel like it's gonna like make people not want to, like, figure out this puzzle and try to go to the other modules. And since I mean I didn't want to like completely take out this puzzle. I actually don't find this puzzle too confusing, and originally I wanted to like add a, what is it, where is it, I wanted like to kind of like add a light just to like give you a little indication that there's like a C4 here, but I just felt like it was so freaking obvious, so I decided to use this decal, the caution, because it's a C4 explosion, so be cautious about it. But it seems like people, they don't really tend to like get it, and since I can't have players going to the other module, I decided to kind of like do something I don't really like to do. I decided to like add a little tripod panel, and I decided to kind of give you a little clue right here. So basically, your clue is you gotta shoot something to get through the walls, and obviously it's this. I guess it's probably the better idea because if I take this thing out, you'll never know what kind of players are gonna do. I mean, what the players are gonna do, and I obviously added a bunch of invisible barriers because I don't want you to um jump through these player blocking volumes and go over here because then you're gonna ruin a lot of the spawns there, ruin a lot of the enemies, and you're not. And actually, yeah, you can break the map. Actually, yeah, like I remember I found a lot of ways to kind of like bypass this area back in the early process of this map. So I have to add so many invisible barriers. And here's a pro tip for all of you custom like geo map makers. If you know like your map is very easily breakable, like you know that people can like get out of the map really easily, add invisible barriers. Like it really frustrates me when I'm trying to like play a custom geo map and then like I'm exploring and then like I end up breaking the map because I'm a very explorative player and that's the problem, dude. Like I hate when that happens. It definitely demoralizes me and it definitely makes me not want to like play the map again. So when I make little my maps like this, I always have that like mentality, like I gotta add invisible barriers where I feel like people are most likely going to explore, and that invisible barrier is basically to allow you to know that you're not supposed to go in that area. See, I added like an invisible barrier here because it's actually very possible to jump on this rock and you can just pretty much jump up here. Okay, so this first module, um, it's pretty straightforward. This was like one of like I think this was like my first where I used like the new metal panel textures, and it did take me a while to kind of like figure out how to make these levels look a little bit more nicer or have like some sort of attention to detail to it. But I personally think it's okay. I'm really not like the best with this kind of texture. But I feel like these like textures are probably going to be really good for like the Doom 2 remakes and stuff. And I think that's really all I gotta say for. Oh, I almost forgot. So basically, yeah, there are 3 modules, and your goal is to kind of like grab the power core, and then you'll like find the exit, and this is where like the power core is right here. And yeah, to do it, you gotta like start the gore nest and just start killing stuff. And yeah, so this is pretty much the UAC module. It's by far the easiest one. And that's another thing that I kind of like feel like this map does kind of like struggle. It has like a very bad difficulty curve. Like this module, I personally don't think it's that hard. There's not really a lot of health packs, but I feel like most players should be able to like do fine. And health and armor just isn't really much of an issue on this area compared to Hell or Classic. And I think I'll start with Classic. So the Classic module is definitely more harder and more intense than the UAC module. I definitely started adding like more goodies here. See, some health packs, some armor, and of course you get the super shotgun because this is where like the fights do start to get a lot more intense. And I actually really like this preset module. I just feel like it was like a really good build up for my little classic city right here because I love city levels. I mean, I'm the guy that created city survival. I always love city based levels and first person shooters. I still believe Duke Nukem 3D has like the best city levels out of any FPS games I played. And yeah, so I gotta like have some city levels in Doom. Matter of fact, like one thing that I really miss about like the old Doom 4 was there was a lot more emphasis on like city maps, but in the new Doom there's absolutely none of that, and that's just pretty disappointing. But at the same time, it kind of makes sense because you're not like on Earth, so yeah. But yeah, this is like a city level, pretty much inspired by like um, maps back in like the Doom 2 days. I was definitely inspired by downtown when I was making this level, and it's just kind of funny. Like I think downtown like it is a pretty good level, and I feel like it's definitely an influence when I make maps like this. But at the same time, it's not like my favorite map or anything like that. But yeah, downtown I was definitely inspired while making this module. And I think this was like the longest one that took me. Like this entire module, I remember it took me a long time to finish it and just like polish it, craft it, playtest it, all that stuff. And then right here, this is the second module. So this one's kind of more inspired by like, episode 1 or episode 2 type of vibe. And I personally don't think it looks as good as the other one, but I kind of like try my best to make them look a little interesting. Try to make you feel like you're not playing like a freaking 90s wad or something like that, like some 90s wad that some 16-year-old kid made or something. But I tried my best. Like, I will admit, I'm not really like much of an artist. A lot of my artistic stuff for mapping, it's pretty much just inspired by like me looking at pictures, um inspired by my favorite video games and favorite video games levels and all of that stuff. So yeah, I've never really been like an artist, so I do kind of lack that imagination at times. But I do feel like I do got maps that are like more um visually appealing, or it does got like some really good attention of detail. But I'll eventually save that for like the future videos. And what else can I say about this area? I personally really like this entire fight here. I think this is such like an exciting fight. There's just like a lot of things that can definitely happen, and I really feel like this fight really does allow you to play it in a lot of different ways too. So it's a very dynamic fight. There's like a lot of defensive playing, but also aggressive playing at the same time. And unfortunately, these Cackle Demons, like I did play it with like the new update, they do behave a little awkwardly. They used to kind of like rush up to you, but now it seems like they kind of like just stand there and they'll like shoot you, but they're definitely not as aggressive. It's just really awkward. And yep, you need the red key to enter this building here. And here's another thing that I kind of hate about like the power core. So when you pick up a power core, you can actually like pick it up without touching it, and that definitely can affect triggers. So I decided just to put like a box trigger here, and it just kind of sucks that the power core doesn't like have like a on pick up type of command, because I think that would have been so much better. Yeah, you can make it touch, but I just prefer to make people manually pick it up, and that's just kind of my style. And God, my voice is getting like really weird. Alright, I got some water, and I think that's pretty much it for the second level. I mean, for the classic module. I think the classic module is probably my favorite one out of all of them. I just think there's a lot more to offer, and it's just more like interesting from a visual standpoint and the gameplay. Well, maybe, yeah, I guess like it does have like the better gameplay. Nah, I'll probably say like it has like a good hybrid of between like the visuals and gameplay. But I really prefer like the gameplay in the Hell one, because actually, you know what? I'll talk about like the Hell one. I'm getting really distracted here. So this is the Hell module. So when I made the Hell module, I just want to go complete ape shit with it. I just wanted to make something really tough, something really extreme. Like the difficulty will be much more extreme in Hell, because it kind of makes sense. I want to make this experience. I want to make you go to Hell, and the experience should be like very hellish. And here's something I decided to do recently. So I decided to add this little PDA, and it's pretty much like a warning that Hell is very hard, kind of like a homage to classic Doom when you first played on Nightmare difficulty. And this area is kind of like a maze. It's inspired by, I think, what was it, Plutonia Map 13 Hunted. It's the Archvile maze. This one, I definitely wanted you kind of feel like you're in a little maze, and basically these mazes, you're not safe at all. There's always like something that's ready to like creep the hell out of you. For example, here's a rocket launcher, but you get that rocket, you're gonna get ambushed by a Baron. But not only that, you're gonna get ambushed by some imps, and I think this is, yeah, possessed soldier. Then eventually he's gonna spawn another Baron, and it's just gonna be complete chaos. And not only that, if you kind of like end up panicking a little bit and you go here, you'll spawn more Barons. Yeah, it's a very, very scary map. And I remember when, what was it? When Three Dimensions was first released, I remember like there was there was a decent amount of people that finished the map, but there was also a decent amount of them that didn't finish it. And I feel like maybe because of this module here. Hell is really hard compared to, like I said, it's definitely more extreme compared to like the other modules, but at the same time, I really wanted something that was more extreme, something that was really fun, because I mean, I did enjoy, like, the classic module. Like, I think it's the best one, but then again, I am a sucker for like some very intense and very like hard firefights and all that stuff. So what else? Alright, so this is like the last module here. This is by far like the hardest part, and probably like the part where I'm sure most people are gonna rage quit. So basically, it's a trap. It's literally a trap. So right when you enter here, I am kind of like, preparing you with some goodies here. And once you get into this trap, there's like a quad damage nearby here, and you're gonna fight a crap load of enemies. And this is where like the whole trap idea comes to play. I basically want you to get that quad damage, so you'll try to like kill all of these enemies. And it's only like 2 waves, but once you try to get the red power core, there's another 3 more waves, and these 3 waves are much harder than the last 2 waves you encountered. And basically, there's no way you're gonna pretty much fight through that fight really easily, because eventually your quad damage is going to run out, and you have to pretty much fight it out, because this is basically a lockdown fight. Because once you pick up that great power core, these what is it, yeah, these columns, they're pretty much going to block you until you kill everyone in this arena. And yeah, it's a very brutal fight, so I'm sure, like, most people are gonna rage quit because they're gonna die a lot, die a ridiculous amount of times. And why did I create this kind of trap? Well, it's because of Doom 2 co-op. I've always loved like how in co-op of Doom 2 there's like a cyber demon. Like, for example, on map 11, you can totally get like spawn trap on that map if you manage to like annoy the cyber demon, or all of a sudden the cyber demon become really aggressive. And another example is map 5 and No Rest for the Living. um Basically, when you grab, I think it's the red skull, there's like a very huge ambush, and I think there's even more enemies on like co-op, and there's actually an exclusive archvile. And basically, if you actually die during the ambush, you will get constantly spawn trapped at the spawn, because there will be like a lot of enemies spawning at the spawn, and sometimes there's an archvile at that spawn, and if that archvile is at that spawn, you are going to die so many times, and he's going to just keep on like reviving the enemies, and you're just gonna like try to like kill the enemies with the chain gun and the chainsaw. And I just really wanted something like that in this fight, because I love that type of stuff. It's just like, it's just masochistically fun. And it seems like maybe, since SnapMap, it's kind of more targeted to like average gamers. I feel like this fight is where most people are gonna rage quit, and they're probably gonna like dislike my map and all of that stuff. The usual stuff. But what can you do? If you don't like the map, that's fine. Go ahead, do it. I'm not like too sensitive over like the ratings and stuff. But yeah, this entire area was basically inspired by like those Doom 2 co-op, those Doom 2 co-op moments. But it is very possible to beat this fight without dying once. The whole strategy is to like save that quad damage, because you can actually fight the first 2 waves without like dying, without needing the quad damage. It is more strenuous that way, but it's much worth it, because then when you grab the power core, you can use the quad damage to basically kill like this Mancubus and I think like waves of imps, and then eventually you're gonna fight like some revenants and specters, and that quad damage will kill them really easily. And then the third wave is by far the worst, is where you're fighting like 7 or 8 barons, but with quad damage and rockets, you can pretty much spawn trap these barons, and they won't really be much of a threat, and you can pretty much beat this this entire fight without losing much health and armor. So yeah, this fight is a very like, wait, what the hell? Why do I have some? Oh wow, that's kind of interesting. Maybe in the future I'll try to like fix that. Yeah, so this fight, it's a very intense fight. But it's very possible to beat it at the same time, and I really like this fight. Like, this fight is probably my favorite fight out of all like the fights on this map. And I personally think like Hell has the best gameplay, but as far as like level design and kind of like the visual goes, I think I prefer the classic levels more. And I still feel like the classic is, I mean, the classic modules are like the best one in terms of like the overall enjoyment and all of that. But you know, Hell, I definitely like Hell a lot. Matter of fact, when I was playtesting this map, I always started on Hell, because when you start on Hell and you don't have like all like the exclusive weapons from like the other modules, Hell is definitely a lot harder. But at the same time, you know, it's part of playtesting. Like I really want to make sure like I can beat my maps, or beat the maps, you know, without dying once, just to make sure like it's fair and it's balanced, all of that stuff. And I think that's really all I gotta say for this area. So that is Hell. And oh yeah, so I have a player blocking volume here, mainly because you can actually like climb on this little torch. It's really weird. You can't actually climb on this one, but it seems like when you use this module, like some of these torches, you can actually climb on them. And obviously when you climb on them, it breaks the gameplay, because yeah, you can just bypass through a lot of stuff. And I gotta, like, you know, do what I gotta do. Same thing right here. You can actually like jump on these altars really easily, but I added a player blocking volume here, so you can't jump on them. And there you go. So basically that's all of like the 3 modules. And once you get all the 3 modules, you can go to the exit, or if you're very curious, you'll notice there's like a secret door here, and there's actually a 4th power core that you have to look for. And this is where you get like the little secret level. So if you ever want to like play the map and play like the 4th um the 4th module, and not a 4th module, I mean find the 4th power core, it's in the classic level. So there's these like little hidden switches right here, and basically there are 3 of them, and once you find them all, you can pretty much where is it, you go back into this little building and you can actually get this power core. And this blue power core is pretty interesting. Once you use it, you can use the little panel, and you know, secret level, I have this little teleporter here just to it's just for co-op. And I forgot, so there's actually like a teleporter right here in Hell, mainly because, you know, I try to like think it from a co-op perspective. Like what happens if like your teammate, he's kind of like exploring around the map, and you're basically kind of like going forward to the map. What happens, like, you know, your teammate's kind of like stuck out here and you can't like help them out. So I decided to like add like a little teleporter here, just for your teammate to help you finish the lockdown, because that's gonna suck, man. That would definitely suck if you're stuck fighting and your teammate is pretty much doing nothing. So there's like a teleporter there, but obviously once the fight is done, you know, it's completely gone. Alright, where is it? So this area. So yep, basically there's a teleporter here for co-op, and here's the 4th module. I mean, not the 4th module, like the 4th dimension. So this area is completely different than, you know, the other one. This is like a little virtual world, virtual reality type of theme. And this map is basically like a homage to my most experimental map, and it's actually like a very old one. It's called Virtual World, and I basically wanted to kind of like create an arena, mainly because I was running low on network, but at the same time I kind of wanted an arena at the same time, just to like make it fun. And it's probably like the most intense one. I think it's even harder than like the Hell modules, but at the same time you do get like a lot of good weapons around here, and it's pretty much like just a lot of combat, a lot of intense gunfights. And like I said, if you actually find like the secret, I feel like this level can definitely take a while to finish. And yep, you got some quad damage. A lot of these enemies, like, they're really like top tier or mid tier revenants, barons, and it's pretty much like a simple arena. You know, you just try to kill stuff, and basically you want to try to like go for these switches later on. And I think that's pretty much it. Like, that's pretty much it for the level. And you need to like hit 2 switches to activate the exit here, and that's pretty much all you do on this map. And yep, there's pretty much a decent amount of mega health here because you're guaranteed to lose a lot of health here for sure. And these boxing volumes, they actually don't block the shots. I decided to like experiment this with virtual world back in the days because back in the virtual world map, I'll probably do like a commentary on that map just to like go more in depth, but I was really trying to like make a map where I was using nothing but player blocking volumes and no like props or no health props. And this was made back in um update 2, free update 2. So back when we didn't have like the textures on the player blocking volume, so I wanted to like experiment that. And I personally think this is kind of cool. I kind of like what I did right here. I basically like combined a solid player blocking volume and like a transparent at the same time. It does kind of give you this little cool like futuristic vibe to it. But yeah, this is just pretty much, you know, something extra. You know, it's basically to reward for your exploration because in pretty much like what I said in my Infernal Machine Life commentary, I like to like reward people for exploration. And yeah, if you manage to explore a lot, you get to kill more shit and make the level last even longer. So when I look back at this map, I personally think it's a good map, but at the same time, I don't really think it's one of my best ones. I just feel like the SnapMap limitations kind of screwed me over, and I feel like the difficulty curve is probably not the best. Like, you know, this one is really easy. This one, you know, it's kind of like in the middle, and then you got Hell, which is like ridiculously hard and just very brutal. So yeah, that was probably like just not a good idea. But at the same time, you know, when I was making Hell, I really wanted to like make something that was very intense because I guess because I got bored of playing. I mean, I guess I got bored of like, you know, the firefights and the UAC and the classic modules. They just weren't intense enough for me, so I just wanted to make something that was really intense. So yeah, that you know, it sounded like, I mean, this map sounded great on paper, but as far as execution goes, I think it could have been better. But with that said, I don't think the map is bad. Like I said, I think it is a solid map, and I knew this map should have like, you know, 4-player co-op support. I eventually updated to 4 players, and it plays amazingly like when you're playing it in co-op. I think this is probably like one of the best maps you can possibly play in co-op as like at least 3 to 4 players. I think it's a really good map for 3 to 4 players. I do think it is a good solo map too. I don't want to say like this is a co-op map first and solo second. It is a good solo map if you don't mind like, you know, getting your ass kicked. But if you do, like if you can't stand the constant dying, the constant intense firefights after intense firefights, then I don't think this map is really for you for solo. And oh yeah, I guess I'll talk more about the classic modules here. I've never really used much of classic modules because I just didn't really see much purpose. Even though Void Runner, he actually told me he really liked it, my classic modules stuff, but yeah, I don't really think I'll ever return to like making like, you know, these classic maps again. I just really enjoy using like the new textures and stuff. So I think that's pretty much it for 3 Dimensions. I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I hope you know, found all of them very invigorating and very informative. And I'll see what the third map will be. So see you guys later.